Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is Jordan Roy-Byrne. He is the author, publisher, and the CEO behind The Daily Gold. And his book is out now and it's called Gold, Silver, The Greatest Bull Market Has Begun. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Hey, Ivan, thanks so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be on today.
Yeah, it's a huge pleasure having you come down. I wanted to get you down and talk about everything that's happening in the silver and gold markets. But first, before we get into any of that, usually when it's your first time on the show, I just want to ask you as a guest, what got you into the silver and gold and precious metals market? Like, what's your first encounter with it?
Yeah, great question. Well, I started investing when I was much younger in the late 90s. Of course, I was following tech stocks because they were going up, and I got really hurt buying stocks on the way down. I got in early enough that I before 1999, so I profited, but I gave back some of the gains, not all, but some of the gains. And the biggest culprit, I was buying stocks on the way down, thinking they were great buying opportunities. But that basically led me to studying technical analysis. Like there had to be another reason to explain, why stocks were moving the way that they were. They had this huge move up and then they crashed and bear market rallies and so those sort of things. And so that got me into technical analysis, which even a couple years before I did get into it in the early 2000s, I thought I'd probably get into it at some point. And so, and so from there, I had a couple people tell me, you should look at gold. And this was like in 2000, 2001, like at the very beginning. And I was really skeptical. And then in 2002, 2003, I became a big commodity bull. I realized, stocks are in a secular bear. Commodities is the place to be. I invested in energy first because the companies make money. But I knew eventually I was going to go big into gold and silver. Went big into gold and silver in '04, '05. Got really lucky, timed that huge move. And, from there, I've been in the market ever since. And that, the book, it's really been the third version, but this is by far the best version. And so I think everything is really clear as of the last couple years, where historically we are following something that's very similar to the mid to late 1960s or early 1970s, and it's a major turning point for gold and precious metals. And this bull market, like I talk about in the book, this is going to be the biggest we've ever seen for gold and silver. And not only did gold break out from this beautiful cup and handle pattern, this 13-year cup and handle pattern last year, that started it. And gold a couple months ago also broke out from a 10-year long base against the 60/40 portfolio. So that's the conventional investment portfolio. So and the bond bear market, that you look at the history from 1920 to 2020, a 100-year history. There was only one bear market in bonds the entire time. It was from about the mid 60s to the early 80s.
Right.
So similarly to the mid 60s, after COVID, we put in this huge peak in bonds, and we're in a secular bear in bonds now. And so the key moving forward is once this secular bull in the stock market ends, maybe it's already ended, maybe there'll be one more, weak move to the upside where you make a slight new high. But once that finishes, you're going to have the two major asset classes in secular bears. So we are at the start of all this money coming into precious. It's only started in the last month or two, and this is something
Right.
that's going to play out for many years. And so, circling back, I got into gold and silver in the early 2000s because I saw the future. Then after 2011, I wrote the first version of this book. I really took a step back, really studied all the fundamentals, and really tried to learn, okay, what explains why gold and silver move the way they move. And so gold and silver, we're in a secular bear from 2011 to 2023. And like I said, bonds, we're in a secular bear now. That's eventually going to lead to stocks, US stocks, going into a secular bear. And I couldn't be more bullish on gold and silver. And I know I'm just rambling on here, but the last thing I'll say, I really think that this correction that we're having now, whether it lasts, 2 or 3 months or 6 or 7 months, I think this is going to be the last chance to really get in before the crowd comes in. Because based on my work, the technicals and many other factors, we are lining up, Ivan, where the next move higher. Again, it's not going to be imminent. It's not the next month or two, probably later this year. But that next move, that is really, you got to get in before that happens because
Yeah.
You're too late. That's when everybody's going to start piling in. So we have a real last chance here over the coming months.
There's about $15 trillion worth of physical gold in the world sitting there costing money rather than being used is just absolutely insane. Monetary Metals is bringing gold back into the financial world, putting gold to productive use right now. The problem with gold, of course, in physical form is that it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's not particularly easy to ship, and it costs money to store in a protected manner. This platform Monetary Metals created is a proven concept and allows gold to be put to productive use. So instead of sitting there costing you money, it's actually in use earning you money.
Learn how you can earn 2 to 5% in our leasing program and how accredited investors can earn up to 12% on silver paid in silver. This advertisement is not investment or financial advice. Minimum investment applies.
Absolutely. What would you say, Jordan, to, the average Joe out there who just started to get into silver and gold and, who's trying to protect their assets or just trying to, put some savings to the side? What would you tell them? How would you tell them to do it? Yeah, what would be your advice to the average Joe who's just watching you for the very first time right now?
Well, I can't give advice, and the issue with that is everyone is at a different level. Every
Right.
person, and most people they can start accumulating the metals, which is a great strategy. If you want to get into the stocks, the minors and juniors, which I specialize more in, I tell people you got to get educated. Like it's really risky. You can make a fortune, but you could also lose a lot of money. And so, yeah, a lot of money is going to be made, but just please educate yourself. Just devour every piece of information that you can, because, as people say, knowledge is power. And, watch interview channels like yours and, follow my work, follow the work of other people you like, and get educated, because then you will have an idea of what's coming. And just when you're educated, you're going to make much better decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
You can't just they can't just take your word or my word.
Right.
Please. I mean, you want to follow experts and people you trust that are giving you good information, but educate yourself. I mean, you individually, you're going to make the decisions that are best for you. With the help of, the guidance they can receive from watching the videos on your channel, following my work, following the work of the other people out there. But it comes down to, take control of your own situation, get educated, and you will make the best decisions for yourself and your family.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking.
Family.
Absolutely. Do you remember your first silver and gold purchase?
Um, you know, I I remember, I think my mom and dad, they gave me some, those old like silver coins from the
Yeah.
1960s. And I remember one time asking my mom, I think I was 5, so that was, 1990. And she was buying me this gift because I completed this operation, and she got me this gift for being brave. And it was like a box of baseball cards. And I remember I said, "Well, why don't they just print lots of like, why don't they just print money? Like, if this is paper, why don't they just print money?" And she said, "We can't do that. There'll be inflation." So
Right.
that I remember, I had those like those coins. I think from the 1960s, when I guess at that point they stopped making them. But that to me, I think I still have that silver somewhere. And I did buy a little bit, I think in the early 2000s, not a lot. I did get more into the stocks, but I just here and there I've bought a little bit of silver and gold along the way, and I think that's the way to do it. Like
Yeah.
just dollar cost average. Like we are still at the point, like I said a moment ago, like we are still at the point that you could accumulate silver really cheaply. And I can just tell you, technically, I'm not saying we're going to break $35 silver in the next month or two. I mean, who know, it could take 8 months, it could take 3 months. I don't know.
Right.
But when this market breaks $35 silver and then 37, there is very limited resistance until 50. And there's nothing. After 50, there's nothing. That is going to be the second biggest technical breakout of all time. The biggest was actually in the early 70s. Commodity prices broke out of a 100-year base. Gold, you could go back to the Civil War peak, the Great Depression peak, the peak in 1968, 43, $44. Early 70s, when gold broke past that, that was, to me, that's the greatest breakout of all time, breaking out of a 100-year base.
Yeah.
Silver breaking 50, that will be the second greatest breakout of all time. But my point is, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to be looking at, I don't know, $80, $100, $120 silver, and that's where it's going. And so, again, silver under 35. This is like a sale. This is going to look like a sale in 3, 4, 5 years. And so, dollar cost average. But again, this is the information and knowledge that you can gain. You have to understand. I can't tell you, like I said, I can't tell you when it's going to break 35, but I can tell you with that and the other charts I'm looking at, when it breaks 35, you're going to see, a big sharp move higher in silver. And that's the risk. The risk is you wait, and I need to see confirmation. I need to go to 40, 45, 50. Then you're going to be buying silver stocks and silver itself at a way more expensive level.
Yeah.
Now's the time to start building your stash, accumulate, and from there you can dollar cost average.
Yeah, no, you absolutely nailed it, Jordan. Before you go, Jordan, I really want people to connect with you. I'm going to put your links in the description below. But where can people find you? Like, are you on X? Do you have LinkedIn? Is it your website? Where can people find you directly?
Yes, all of that. My website is thedailygold.com. You can get a free copy of my book. You can opt in there at the top. It's a free PDF and EPUB file. It's also on Amazon, but get the book for free
Wow,
before you
that's
buy the
nice.
hardcover copy. Yeah, and I'm on X under the Daily Gold, and also I have a YouTube channel, the Daily Gold, and every Friday I do a weekly market recap. So I would encourage people, tune in every Friday where I talk about, okay, this happened, and what's the setup for the next couple weeks or the next few months. So I put out a lot of free work. You can find it in those places, and yeah, be sure to download the book.
Yeah, and you know what, everyone watching this, I highly recommend, please go check out Jordan's work. Check out thedailygold.com. Everyone watching, please hit the like and subscribe button. And as the market develops, Jordan, I know this is your first time, but I really hope it's not the last. Would really love to have you back on in the future.
Yeah, I'm happy to come back whenever you want me, Ivan. So thanks so much for having me.
Talk to you soon.